Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And I'm back for another solo episode. And this week, we will be starting our NFL Pick'em series. It's week 17, but better late than never. And we still got a couple weeks of regular season left. And then we got the playoffs. We'll be doing Pick'ems for every single week up to the Super Bowl. So we got 16 games. Let's not waste any more time. Let's just run right through it. The first game that we got on tap is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, this pick is going to be pretty obvious. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have really hit their stride over the last couple of weeks. Josh Allen is playing like an MVP candidate again, and they're just going to keep it rolling against the Falcons in this week 17. The next matchup, you got the New York Giants and the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are coming off a win, an upset in the snow against the Seattle Seahawks with Nick Foles. And the Giants, their wheels are just kind of sputtering, but they're not really going anywhere right now. In this matchup, I'll take the Chicago Bears, as much as it pains me to say. But this is a matchup of two terrible quarterbacks. On the Bears, Andy Dalton's going to start because Justin Fields, their rookie quarterback, still isn't healthy yet. And the Giants, you'll either see Mike Glennon or Jake Fromm, or probably both. So neither one of these teams are very good, but you got to pick a winner here. Somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose. I'll take Chicago. Now, this next matchup will be a lot more exciting than the previous. You got two heavyweights in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Kansas City Chiefs are that team that they have always been for the past couple of years. They know what they got to do. They got the weapons, they got the horses, and they're going to do it. But the new kids on the block are the Cincinnati Bengals with that young core, all under 25, Burrow, Mixon, Chase, T. Higgins, and that offense has been humming. Now, this is a matchup that we could potentially see later on down the line. So I think it'll be a good test for both Cincinnati and Kansas City to see where they're at. But right now, Kansas City is playing like the best team in the league, and I don't really think it's particularly close. So although this game can go either way, wouldn't shock me if Cincinnati wins because it's at home. I'm personally going to take the Chiefs. They're a juggernaut, and I don't know if anybody's going to stop them. The next game, you got Miami and Tennessee, the Dolphins and the Titans. The Dolphins, after a 7-game losing streak, are on a 7-game winning streak, and the Titans are just getting healthy at the right time. They just got A.J. Brown back last week, and he had a big game. Derrick Henry should be coming back soon within the next couple weeks. I like this Titans team now for the next 2 weeks and for the playoffs because they're in a good position to get a high seed anyway, and they're getting healthy at just the right time. I think this Dolphins win streak is going to come to an end, as impressive as it was. And I think the Tennessee Titans are going to take this matchup here. After that, you got the Las Vegas Raiders and the Indianapolis Colts. We've heard a lot about the Vegas Raiders, the season that they've had. It's been an absolute mess with the whole Gruden situation. And then you got Damon Arnett and Henry Ruggs, and that team is just a mess. Derek Carr is keeping them afloat somehow. And now Indianapolis, they're also turning it up too, with Jonathan Taylor making his argument for MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. And he's dominating every team and running over every team that he plays. This game is in Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis is the better run team, more talented, more high-powered. They've been playing better lately. I got the Colts. The matchup after that, total mismatch. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the New England Patriots. And yeah, I don't really think it's going to be particularly close. The New England Patriots with Bill Belichick, he's done a really good job restoring that team after the year that they had last year. And Jacksonville with Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence in his rookie season, it's not really working out. I think the Patriots, they win big here. And it's kind of the same case with this next matchup. Tampa Bay and New York. You got two teams that are in the opposite ends of the spectrum. Tampa Bay, defending Super Bowl champions, and the New York Jets, they're really, really struggling. They're still trying to rebuild for the future. Tampa Bay and Tampa Bay big, even though Tom Brady doesn't have his weapons. It doesn't have Chris Godwin, or they're really banged up. I think the Buccaneers win big here. Now the matchup after that, Philly and Washington, two teams that are just on the bubble of making the playoffs. Philly at 8-7, they're just alive at the 7th seed, and Washington, they're barely hanging afloat. The reason that they're alive is because they have the tiebreakers, but I think this is where Philly sticks the dagger in them. Philadelphia is hitting their stride at the right time too. Their rushing attack, they're really figuring out what they have to do with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. And Washington has just played terrible. They let up 56 against Dallas last week, and their defense, which was really the strength of their team, has been playing really, really awfully. I'll take Philly here in Washington. After that, you have the Los Angeles Rams and the Baltimore Ravens. Two teams that the Rams, they're really, really good. The Ravens, they have a lot of talent, but they are, quite frankly, the most injured team that I've seen in my entire life. They should be so much better than they actually are. And not to mention that Tyler Huntley is still going to start. They don't even have Lamar Jackson yet. As much as I like Tyler Huntley as a quarterback, as the things that he can do, I'll take the Rams to win this one. And the Rams are going to advance to 12-4 and secure higher seed there. After that, you have the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers, two teams which we don't really know what they are. Like the Broncos don't really know which direction they're moving because Teddy Bridgewater got hurt and now it's Drew Lock at the helm. They certainly need a quarterback. They're still in playoff contention, but they're in danger of missing. And then the Chargers, we thought we knew what they were. We thought we knew that they were very good with Justin Herbert. He's having a phenomenal year. But then they lose by 12 to the Texans, and that makes you reconsider everything that you've known about the LA Chargers. So two teams that are really, really interesting. For me in this matchup, I'll take LA, but it wouldn't shock me if it's a close game. So that's a matchup that I'm going to keep an eye on because it also has playoff implications. The next matchup after that, Houston and San Francisco. The Houston Texans team that just came off that 12-point win against the Chargers now goes up against the San Francisco 49ers, where they're clinging to a playoff spot. I believe they're currently in the 6th seed, and they don't really know what they got going on at quarterback for this week. They think Trey Lance is going to start. Jimmy Garoppolo probably not going to play with that injury that he sustained in his throwing arm. So it's going to be rookie versus rookie, Davis Mills against Trey Lance. And I think this one's pretty clear. Although the Texans did shock the Chargers, I don't think they sneak by the 49ers here. This 49ers team can still beat you in a lot of different ways, and I think they take it here in this ball game. After that, you got the evening matchup that I am most excited for, which is the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys. The Arizona Cardinals a month ago looked like they were going to run away with the 1 seed, going to run away with it, and then they hit a skid. And the Dallas Cowboys, they're now in the 2 seed, and they're in the driver's seat controlling their own destiny. So this is a matchup that's really going to have a lot of playoff implications in the NFC as far as seeding goes in that upper echelon of teams. The Dallas Cowboys coming off a 56-14 win against Washington. They absolutely thumped them. But I think this is where the Cardinals get back on track here with Kyler Murray and that offense. Even though they haven't been playing to expectation lately, I think this is a good test for that Dallas defense because everybody's saying how good they are. I think Arizona comes into Jerry World and beats them. After that, you got the NFC South matchup of the Carolina Panthers versus the New Orleans Saints. Both teams with really, really disappointing seasons, not quite what they expected. Let's start with Carolina. Christian McCaffrey has been hurt. They started strong, and now they don't really know what they have at quarterback at all. They've been rotating between Sam Darnold and then PJ Walker for a little bit and Cam Newton, and it's been a revolving door there. Sam Darnold is going to get the start against the Saints. The Saints have been hit really bad by the COVID bug because last week on the late night game, they had to start Ian Book against the Dolphins because the 3 quarterbacks ahead of Ian Book on the depth chart were either Jameis Winston or on the COVID list. They get Taysom Hill back for this game, so I think the Saints win. But these are two teams that aren't really having the ideal seasons that they imagined. The next game is Detroit and Seattle, the Lions versus the Seahawks in Seattle. Detroit, they play with a lot of heart. They will run through a wall for Dan Campbell. And Seattle, it's looking like the beginning of the end. We don't know if Russell Wilson is on his way out the door. They don't know if they're going to fire Pete Carroll. They don't know what they're going to do there. They're in disarray. I think the Seahawks win here, but the Lions aren't going to make it easy on them. The Lions, the thing about them is that they play hard, and on any given Sunday, they can come in and shock you. They beat the Vikings for their first win, and then the Cardinals thought they were going to waltz into Detroit and beat them, and obviously that didn't happen for by far the biggest upset of this season. So I think Seattle wins close, but Detroit gives them a run for their money. Now you got the NFC North clash for Sunday night football. The Minnesota Vikings and the Green Bay Packers. This was looking to be a primetime game, a really, really good matchup between two rivals that always play each other close. And then Kirk Cousins got COVID, and now this isn't nearly as exciting a matchup as it used to be about 3 days ago. So a matchup where the Vikings could potentially win. Now I see there's really no chance. I think the Vikings play them close because the Vikings and Packers always have close games. You see the last matchup, 34-31, a last-minute field goal decided it. But that was with Kirk Cousins at quarterback. Now, the quarterbacks that the Vikings have at their disposal are Sean Mannion and Kellen Mond. Personally, I would love to see Kellen Mond start and have his Kellen Mond moment, the Rook. Let him get some reps. But I think the Packers win here, and they establish themselves as the number one seed in the NFC, clinch that with a win and a Dallas loss. Now, Monday night is an AFC North matchup that has a lot of playoff implications because you got two teams that are on the bubble, the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers, potentially Ben Roethlisberger's last game at Heinz Field. And if it is, farewell to an absolute legend of the game. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's got 2 rings, and he has a lot of counting stats. He was a great quarterback for a long, long time, but it's looking like this is going to be it for him. But I think the Cleveland Browns come into the big catch-up bottle, and they spoil that farewell. Even though Baker Mayfield has hurt the Browns lately, they're still really, really talented. Nick Chubb is still a really, really darn good running back, and they're getting Kareem Hunt back, and that defense can still hold you down. And with the way Big Ben's NFL career is winding down and the decline that we've seen from him, I think Cleveland's going to have themselves a pretty good time spoiling that farewell. But that's all we have for the Week 17 pick'ems. We're going to be back next week for Week 18, the first real Week 18 in NFL history. So that's going to be super duper exciting. And if you want to see more Running the Table content, we have college football videos that have already been up, and they're coming out soon. We're going to be covering the national championship game between Alabama and Georgia. We're going to have more NFL content coming for you on the way too. So until next time, I'm out.